Now, you may see the term accessors on the exam, and in this very short video I just want to point out what an accessor is. Now, we've actually already used these in the course, and if you go back to the videos on properties and fields, if you look at part 1 and part 2 of properties and fields, you'll see accessors in action. Now, what exactly is an accessor? An accessor is this method-like functionality that you see in properties and some other places, and this is based on some reserved keywords in C#. Now, here's the best example of them. Notice if we've got a class called time period, and notice we have a private field here, private double seconds. It's a double data type, and the variable is actually named seconds. Then we have our property here, public, and it's a data type double, and hours is what is seen from outside the objects that are instantiated from this class. Now, here's what's going to happen in code, all right? So we're going to go out there and we're going to create a new instance of time period, and it's going to have the variable name of t, and so it's going to be an object named t. And for example, when we call a message box and we say time in hours is, notice t.hours, we're reading that value from that property. Well, anytime we read the value of a property, it calls the get accessor. And so get is used to access that particular field and property and expose it to the outside world. So don't worry about what's going on under the hood, but get is actually a method that's being called, and it's intrinsic to C#, and you don't have to worry about it, not at this point anyway. Now, anytime we try to set a property, for example, we call t.hours and set it equal to 24, that is going to run the set accessor. And normally we'll write some code in the set accessor to check for certain variables or conditions to make sure that we want this particular value to be assigned to our property. Now, another thing to watch for, especially on the exam, and you can use this in the real world all over the place, a property without a get accessor is write only, because you can't read it from outside the application. You can only write values to it. Now, a property without a set accessor is read only, meaning you can't change it, but you read it, right? You've got a get, so you can read it, but you don't have a set, so you can't write to it, okay? So just watch for those. Now, accessors are used in properties. That's where we've used them already. They're also used in indexers and events, and we'll talk about both of those later on in the course. Now, by default, the accessors have the same visibility as the property to which they belong. And when I say visibility, I mean the same access to the outside world, or, as we've already seen in the course, the same modifier. So if your property is public, guess what? Your get and set are also public. Now, you can use a different modifier to restrict access to either the get or set accessor. And you can use accessor modifiers, though, only if the property or indexer has both the set and get accessors. Watch for that condition out there on the exam, okay? So, accessors are simply used in our properties. They're little method-like functionalities that allow us to set and get things in a safe manner. You'll see these again later on in some other objects, but just make sure you're comfortable with what accessors are. You don't have to go much deeper than this. What you see here is enough. Just watch for this concept on the exam and know what they're talking about when they mention accessors.